And welcome to this episode of YCSO Behind the Badge. I'm Deputy Trent Ferris, Public Information Officer for the York County Sheriff's Office, and also your host. As we always do, we ask you to go to our website, and yorkcountysheriff.com, sign up for those Notify Me alerts so you can get information on your phone, email, however way you'd like it, but also go to our social media pages, Facebook, Twitter, X, sorry, Elon, LinkedIn, Instagram, all the big ones. Let's just get all your big social media areas, and except for TikTok, which is, like I always say, we don't ever do a lot of TikTok. And so there we go. Sorry we're late. We usually start these things at 10 o'clock, but the guy behind the screen over here, he's behind this thing over here, helped us get some technical difficulties running. So it is now 10:23 when we should have been here at 10 o'clock. But anyway, it's not about me. It's about this guy sitting across next to me. He is Deputy Matthew Fain. He is with us to talk about lateral transfers. If you don't know what those are the deputies who work for another agency somewhere and say, hey, I want to move. I want to go to the York County Sheriff's Office and work for them because we know what awesomeness they have over there. I'm going to go work for them. And so he has a lateral transfer from where?
Ventura County, California.
All right. So tell us about yourself. Tell us about where Ventura, California is and everything you did before you came here.
All right. So Deputy Matthew Fain, currently assigned Uniform Patrol Services out here with York County. Came from Ventura County, California, where I worked with the Sheriff's Department. Ventura County, it's seated just north of Los Angeles County. Spent about 6 years out there, did 3.5 years in the jails, and then went out to patrol from there. So
there you go. So Ventura, California is not here.
Definitely.
A lot of folks from here in South Carolina may think that Ventura, California, what's the old Beverly Hillbillies? California is a place you ought to be. So they loaded up the truck and moved to Beverly. But you went opposite. You came to South Carolina where the Beverly Hillbillies live. Actually, I think they were from Tennessee. But so what made you want to come here?
So my family just kind of slowly migrated out this way. California just, it was getting a little expensive. So looking for a little financial relief and also a little bit quieter lifestyle. So came out here to York County, visited my family, and just kind of fell in love with the area. So
cool. So it's York County Sheriff's Office, but there are plenty of other law enforcement agencies that are just as good here in York County that you could have worked for.
Absolutely.
What made you choose York County Sheriff's Office?
So I originally picked a sheriff's office out in California because there was no single city that I was really in love with or dedicated to that I wanted to spend most of my time in. And the sheriff's office out there, a lot of opportunities, a lot of collateral billets, and just if you got tired of one city, you can go somewhere else. So coming out here, kind of the same mentality. Didn't want to be stuck in one area too long. I wanted to have that ability to move around to different cities, but also wanted to go to a larger agency that had those collateral duties. So, the boat team, dive team, get out there, do some of those extra things.
Have you done anything, got on the dive team or anything like that yet, or is it you still kind of new trying to get on the patrol and get your feet wet on patrol?
I actually just signed up for the Project Lifesaver. So
yeah.
I just did the online testing, got to schedule my practical, and then I'll be on the Project Lifesaver team.
I did too.
Excellent.
That's not it. Well, Sergeant Gilbert, he and I work fairly closely together, and he said, hey, man, we need people on the team. You want to be on the team? I said, well, Jonathan, listen. Typically when there's Project Lifesaver things going on, I've got to do PIO things. And he goes, no, man, it's so fast. We will find people so fast. You could do the PIO things after we find them. So, hey, real big quick shout out to Project Lifesaver. If you're wanting to learn more about Project Lifesaver and how you can help Project Lifesaver, because we need funds from the community to help, one, get the little transmitters that we put on folks who have Alzheimer's, dementia, autism, who have a tendency to wander, any kind of mental capacity where your loved one may have a tendency to wander. We could really use your help. Sign your folks up. Go to our website, yorkcountysheriff.com. Click on the Services tab, Project Lifesaver, somewhere in there, so you can sign your loved one up that way. But we also need support from the community because, one, it's not quite free. Actually, Sergeant Gilbert is out there right now doing a talk with some folks to get some more help with getting Project Lifesaver. And we actually had our first save a couple weeks ago found a person in a 5-year-old kid in less than 7 minutes.
That's great.
Locked herself into a car and couldn't get out. But these little devices that we have found her in less than 7 minutes. All right, as I digress. Sorry, I had to give a shout out. Jonathan, appreciate that. So anyway, what would you tell somebody that is, like you, that's looking to move out of a state anywhere, California, Montana, wherever, doesn't matter. How would you suggest that they would do a lateral transfer coming here?
So anyone doing a lateral transfer, like I said, the biggest thing was finding out what you're looking for in an agency. So I was actually deployed in the Marine Corps Reserve when I started looking at careers out here and just kind of cruised all the websites and whatever the additional duties were that I could sign on. So number one, find out what it is that you actually want to do, and then just that early communication. So shout out to the recruiting team here. I sent an information request, and within 15 minutes I had a phone call back about the process and everything. So
cool.
That early communication really helped make it an easy transition coming out here.
Yeah, because website, we have everything on the website.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, I can't think of anything you can't find about the agency on our website, because yours truly runs the website. And so I kind of do that. I kind of make sure everybody, we're getting better. It should be 1 to 2 clicks to get wherever you want to go. But sometimes you have to click around to find what you want. But the goal I'm trying to sustain is getting 1 to 2 clicks to get where you want to go. So, and was it hard? Did you have to? You didn't have to go to the academy or anything, because you're already a pretty qualified police officer, right?
Yeah, so thankfully all my certifications California. After I got the initial application here, it was about 4 months to do the backgrounds and everything else. So once I completed backgrounds, the academy out here reached out to the California Post, and they just did the equivalencies to make sure I was qualified. Everything checked out, so I only had to do the single day testing, so written test, firearms qualification, then driving qualification.
Oh, sold. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. That's awesome. So I mean, so if anybody else is out there looking to move, whether you have family moving over here or not, because believe it or not, South Carolina, York County is one of the fastest growing areas in not just South Carolina, but America. I think a recent study said Fort Mill and like Bluffton County or Bluffton, I don't know, it's a county. Bluffton, South Carolina are some of the fastest growing areas here, including Horry County off the coast. So, but it's right here. We're right here in the middle of everything. Have you gotten used to everything here yet so far in York County?
Still getting used to it a little bit. Still finding my way around. Haven't gone exploring too much my time out here, but definitely getting used to it. Starting to adjust.
Quick shout out to your wife. She was a part of our this past year's Citizens Academy program, which is pretty awesome. Did she find out that's like, okay, you picked the right place to go, right?
Yeah, she's very ecstatic about it. Always came home.
Yeah.
She learned a lot definitely gained a lot of appreciation, especially with the detention officers and everything, being able to see inside the jail and experience what they all go through. So being able to see the opposite side of it, she really appreciated the program.
I know, it seems like that's the one thing that people like, is going through the jail. We stepped it up this year with everything, like administrative service. You think administrative service is nothing but a bunch of like paperwork, but it contains a training unit. And so this year they really stepped it up and let people do things instead of say, hey, death by PowerPoint. They actually got to go do stuff. But every year when people get to take the tour in the detention center, they seem to say that is the best one, best part of the program. So shout out to John Hicks and his team over there. Chief Hicks and those guys over there keep a pretty tight ship to make sure everybody understands what's going on over there. So what's it like policing here versus Ventura, California?
So at the root of all things, policing's policing.
Yeah.
People are people. Yeah. It's all very similar in that aspect.
Yeah.
Probably the most challenging part is the laws are obviously very different from California to here, but also just like the computer systems that we use. So still learning every day. Like I told you need to go make some corrections on something once we finish here. But dealing with people still have the same problems they have, and the root of all things. You know, you can't steal, you can't go hitting people.
Right.
Yeah, the basics are all there.
Yeah, the basics, right. That's why you get that's the lateral transfer. That's why you get to just switch over pretty easily. You just got to learn the new laws, and I'm sure South Carolina versus California is a difference.
There's a little bit of difference, yeah.
Is the terrain different? Like, I don't know. Where's Ventura at?
So Ventura, like I said, it's just north of LA, so
Okay.
it's got a mix. So it's right on the coast. So part
Okay.
of it, the area, Ventura County has 7 contract cities. So I primarily worked in a city.
Okay.
But we were also responsible for the unincorporated area outside
Okay.
of it. So we had everything from agricultural fields to
Okay.
coastline, beach
Similar.
houses. We had some mountains out there. A lot less trees. But
Okay. But I mean, you had to learn how to get around all the weird roads, and
Oh, absolutely.
I guess everything is in a block pattern over there, and now you have all these windy country roads in York County.
There's always a new road I'm finding every day.
Yeah, good. What else would you want to tell somebody before we get to the hard part of this podcast, that about lateral transfers and coming here? I mean, I'm sure it's probably going to be a big difference from the place that you come from, but what else would you like to tell folks? If you had a moment to pitch it to somebody who's thinking about coming from another agency to work here, what would you tell them?
You know, at the root of all things, we've all been the new guy on a shift somewhere, so everyone has had that opportunity to go in, meet people, but policing being a people business, as long as you've got the skills to come out, you know how to deal and talk with people, you just got to learn the area. Like I said, it was a 4-month background check out here to get through the entire process. The training unit did an excellent job prior to going down to the academy. Was able to go out to the range, learn how this agency does things, actually integrate, do some of the training before actually going to the academy, and then hitting the road with field training program. So the training aspect, the training unit here will definitely take care of you, get you schooled up. The biggest thing is just finding out what it is that you're looking for, find the right agency, and get that early communication out there.
It's true. I mean, he's now currently going to be, well, now Lieutenant Gonzalez, soon to be Captain Gonzalez, which is going to be really weird. Try to get used to that. But he and his folks over there really know how to get you set, because you know, I worked here for like 10 years before I actually got to go through the full academy, and I learned more in that short amount that time with them than I had in the 10 years prior. I was a class 3, now class 1, all that stuff, so it took a little bit to get them to say, hey, we can let you go for a little bit, Trent. So it worked out great. So, well, good, man. We're glad to have you. Glad to have you here, part of the team, and hopefully your story here will tell some other folks that, hey, it's pretty good to come out. Let's leave. Let's go from Paducah, Kentucky. I don't know. I'm just throwing out random town names to come work for the York County Sheriff's Office, get you here. But your military background probably helped out a little bit too.
Yeah, definitely.
You're
Definitely helps a
one
little bit.
Oh, we have too many Marines here. Just kidding. I'm a sailor, so it works. You know, Navy veteran, so you have to do that. So, all right, here is the hardest part of this entire podcast. I'm sure you were like, "Oh man, I don't know how to do that." Doing this to help recruit folks, but this is the hardest part of the podcast.
All right.
It is the rapid fire, random questions that we ask everybody who's new to the podcast. If you're a fan of the podcast, been listening, we do this for everybody who's new on the podcast. So are you ready? This is random questions. If you had one superpower, what would it be?
I think it would be to fly. I think that experience would overall just be a wonderful thing to have.
That would be one of mine. I'm a big fan of Superman. So, but do you have any interesting hobbies outside of work?
So I picked up the at-home hobby of woodworking. So
Yes.
I actually just finished building 2 built-in cabinets next to our fireplace.
Awesome.
One side has the dog bed. The other side is just kind of some extra storage and a couple floating shelves above it. So
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, I do a little woodworking. I just got to get my shop cleaned up.
that's the biggest thing, yeah.
Well,
Still trying to get that figured out since moving across country.
So when a woodworker gets free wood, you take all the wood you can get.
Absolutely.
Because wood is expensive. And so when we built something at the house, and they were just throwing away wood into the trash bin,
Oh,
just
man.
like tossing it in here. I would go dumpster diving every day. I was like, babe, look what they left. So I went in there and got that. So, all right. What was your very first job ever?
So my first job ever, I was a lifeguard, actually, at a community pool.
Ventura, California.
Yep, that's
That makes a lot of sense. So now everybody's probably going to want to know this because here it's either one or the other. But what's your favorite sports team?
so I'm actually not very much into sports.
Okay.
So
Hey, that's fine.
I don't have a team I root for, just whoever's on the TV at the time, I guess.
Oh yeah, well here in South Carolina you pick one or the other, and I could suggest the best one, but it's either going to be Clemson or Carolina.
Well, every time I hear someone say USC out here, my brain is still University of Southern California, so I'm very confused every time I hear it.
Yes, sir. You heard it right here, folks. So now you're a Clemson fan. Let's just go ahead and say it. Now you're here, but Ventura, you said you were at you had the coast and the mountains. Which would you prefer, mountains or the beach?
So I grew up in a place called Simi Valley, so I was surrounded by mountains growing up all the time.
Okay.
And lived pretty close to the base of a couple of trails, so huge fan of the mountains, getting out there and doing some good hikes.
Yeah, there you go. All right. If you didn't work in law enforcement, what career would you choose?
So going back to the lifeguarding thing, if that was a career that paid more, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I was a lifeguard, eventually became a lifeguard instructor, first aid CPR instructor, and then eventually a manager at the pool there while I was going through college. And just being out there in the sun, working out every day, being able to swim every day, it was a good job. If I could do that for the rest of my life, I'd be happy.
All right, you survived the gauntlet. You survived the gauntlet of the rapid fire questions, and there's a bunch. There's a bunch right here. I just picked random questions. You got the easy ones.
You had me worried there for a second.
Yeah, nah. Well, it was your first time on the podcast. So, all right, well, we appreciate you coming by. We appreciate you being on the podcast. Hopefully, folks who listen to it, believe it or not, people out in California do listen to the podcast. I look at the analytics from time to time, and, I mean, I don't know if they're listening to it, is it either good or bad, but people from all over listen to the podcast. Of course, our biggest viewership or listenership is in York County and the surrounding areas, but people from out and about do listen to the podcast. So if you're listening and you listen to this story about lateral transfers and moving out of your agency to maybe come here, we're hiring. There you go. It's easy as that. So if you want to come work for the York County Sheriff's Office, go to our website, yorkcountysheriff.com. Click on the little hiring button. Right on below the big pictures on the website, there's a whole bunch of blue and yellow buttons. It'll say employment or hire. I forget what it says, but there's an employment tab right there. You click on it, it'll take you to a whole entire page with a bunch of tabs everywhere. It tells you about either one working for the enforcement as a deputy on the road or working in the detention center. You can find out everything you need to know on that page, and then hopefully you will make the wise choice of coming to the York County Sheriff's Office. All right, and while you're at the YorkCountySheriff.com, sign up for those Notify Me alerts so you can get news releases before the news gets it straight to your phone and email at YorkCountySheriff.com, and also follow us always on our social media pages. Hey, Deputy Matthew Fain, thank you for being here.
Thanks
I know
for
this is
having
a
me.
lot, because you don't like to be on the spotlight much, but don't worry about it. Not many people watch or listen to this podcast. All right, folks, thank you for listening and watching YCSO Behind the Badge.